Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the UCM podcast. This is Dr. Bill Davis, your host for today, and I have a fantastic guest on the podcast, one of our clients and just an outstanding upper cervical chiropractor in Oklahoma, Dr. Jennifer Sheppard. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Good to talk about some upper cervical.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Sheppard, for anybody out there that doesn't know you, would you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, I am an upper cervical chiropractor. I practice NUCCA. I've been doing this for about 32 years. I went to Parker, that was my chiropractic college, and I went to every NUCCA seminar I could go to during my time at Parker. I think I even did some before I started chiropractic school. Dr. Clark was my chiropractor ever since I was a little girl, and he's just mentored me, mentored a lot of people here in the Oklahoma City area. He was the main chiropractor here for a number of years.
Yeah. And so 32 years in practice and really a whole upper cervical family now, right? It's your
Yes.
brother's an upper cervical chiropractor, your sister-in-law, your niece, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, a whole bunch of.
I have 4 kids. I think one of them might be a chiropractor, maybe.
Okay.
I got one in osteopathic school, one who's talking about being a chiropractor, and then one who's still 15. So who knows what? Who knows what he'll be?
Very good.
We're looking toward that.
That's awesome. So let's take it back. 32 years ago when you started in practice, coming out of Parker. Tell us about those early years of practice. What was that like coming out of school? Did you get into your own practice right away? Did you do an associate position first? What was your how did your journey start?
So I did an associateship with Dr. Clark in Oklahoma City. So that's where I got my start. He was a great mentor. I came in and on my first patient completely zeroed somebody out who was in a car accident. And I was like, yes, I got this. It's so easy. And then the next patient kind of brought me down a little bit there. And I was like, okay, well, this is going to be some work. But having a great mentor there to nudge me and push me in the right direction and critique and, say, you can do a little bit better with this and work with me on that. That really did help set me up. So I really got a great start mentoring with him.
Nice. So those first few years with Dr. Clark, learned a lot of things there, and then eventually went out on your own. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. About that time, I think probably was when there was a patient advocate, Luella Harris, who came out and did a talk for our clinics, and things just skyrocketed and boomed after that. So I got my own space and just started going from there.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Up and going ever since.
Yeah. So started on your own in the Oklahoma City area, right? And began to see patients on your own, and like you said, it's a challenging technique, right? You have all kinds of different people that come see you, and some of them you're able to get an incredible adjustment on. Some of them is a bigger challenge. And so, what were some of those early challenges as you started on your own and in solo practice those first few years?
Well, everybody is just their own puzzle, and trying to figure out that puzzle of, what is going to make everything come orthogonal, get that canal clear. It's just all sorts of different things I saw at first, cerebral palsy, trigeminal neuralgia. It just seems like the longer I practice, the more difficult neurological things there are out there. And whether we didn't know about them as well or have the technology to diagnose them, but you need to have a lot in your toolbox to be able to really practice and help. And that's something that's kind of changed. Like when I first started practice, my blue collar workers were probably my worst misalignments. And now it's my white collar workers. That time at the computer all day, I see that being a different change from when I first started.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's something you've seen with just as our industry has changed, as the world has changed, so many more people behind computers all day. That's messing them up pretty severely, huh?
It is. We're not going to be out of business anytime soon.
Right. Right.
Yeah. If you can do upper cervical, you can have business.
That's right. There's plenty of people out there that are sick and suffering that need hope and healing, right?
Yes, they do. They do.
So as you started to grow the practice, started helping more people in the community, at one point, or at what point did you start, bringing on other doctors to help you, hiring associates and that type of thing?
So when I started wanting to have a family, I brought in another doctor during that time. And so that kind of helped me be able to have time off and raise a family and be able to still practice. I always kept practicing throughout. I have 4 kids and got to homeschool those kids. And so my last one wanted to go to high school, and I was like, okay, that'll work for me. After 22 years of homeschooling and chiropractic, it's a lot, but you can do it. It's just that time management and being able to make it work. Because, my mom always said, if you have kids, you better give your kids your time or they're going to take it later. And so having that time with family is really important.
Yeah, that's a great quote from your mom. Yeah, that if you don't give them your time, they'll take it later. And so yeah, I mean, obviously that's a real challenge when you're raising 4 kids and homeschooling them and also have a practice. And so, what were some of the keys that you found during that season of being able to balance all of that and be everywhere you needed to be?
Well, God, Bill, it was only God. I give that all to him because there were some days. But yeah, it's just, prioritizing, time management. There are a lot of times I joke and I said, yeah, I need a job from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. because I don't have anything to do then. It's like, oh, I'll start a new company. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of the grace of God and some long days, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. So it's a good life. I mean, chiropractic really allows you to have a good life. Because one thing you understand, and if you apply it to take care of yourself and keep yourself in good shape and well adjusted and good nutrition, and that's something it's kind of like when you're talking to your patients, you got to listen to it some yourself. So keeping that up and going, and I really enjoy upper cervical and the ability it has to really help people. And it's not something that you ever have to sell, because once somebody gets adjusted, they know right then that this is different. This is what my body really needs. Yeah.
Well, after 32 years, I'm sure you have some fantastic success stories of helping patients. And, what are some of those favorite stories that you have from your career?
Well, I'll go back to one of my first patients. She was a lady who couldn't get pregnant. She could get pregnant, she couldn't carry. She had 12 miscarriages. So she'd been able to have 1 child, 12 miscarriages, and she was 40. And I said, I wish you would have found upper cervical chiropractic earlier, because getting your pelvis back in balance and working on some nutrition, I think would have really helped you. And so she's like, yeah, I really wish for that too. Well, she ended up getting pregnant at 40.
Wow.
And we helped her carry the baby to term. And so I was like, if I didn't do anything else in my practice, that was it, you know, and then it just keeps building and building and building over the years. But it's funny is they moved away right after the baby was born and moved up north, and her daughter came and see me when she was 21.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like, I need to get adjusted. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get you adjusted. So it's kind of a cool full circle. Yeah.
That's neat.
And then, you know, seeing, you know, you get to practicing this many years, you're starting to see, you know, grandkids of the people and that you've had, and young people who have now grown up and they're having their families and they're bringing everybody in. So that part's really nice. You get to see how you've affected people over the years.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so the kid who you had a hand in being born came back as a patient. That's fun.
Yes, yeah, it really is. It is.
Yeah. And what about your team? I mean, 32 years of, I'm sure you've had a lot of different CAs and people that have helped you with your practice. And what are some of the things that you've learned about, you know, building a good team and helping the team to take care of patients with you?
You know, I think I've been very blessed because I had 2 employees, and I had one for 22 years and one for 25.
Wow.
So that just really, you know, they knew their jobs. I knew my job, and so one's retired and one's probably fixing to retire. And so just some new changes and some younger faces and a younger associate here who just got out of school. And so we're glad to have him come into the practice, and I'm glad to have some time off every once in a while. So, but it's been really nice to be able to, it's just refreshing, you know, going over things and, you know, discussing those things, different opinions and views, but still keeping, you know, NUCCA at the core.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned, you know, your most recent associate, Dr. Cashman, right?
Yes.
And obviously we've been last few years here, you've been working with us and we've been helping you with some things. And so what's been some of the keys with him? Like, as you said, new doctor coming out of school, what's been some of the keys with him to really get him to a place where he's becoming successful within your practice as well?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I think I've had a certain rhythm that you kind of get into when you practice for a while, and you know, when you bring somebody in, then that kind of is like adding a different wavelength in with your wavelength as a way of associating it in a way. And so it's, you know, I've always just really, until I came in with y'all, I was wanting to help an associate get started. And so I kind of had a good practice going and had a flow about things. And so to switch that up a little bit, you know, kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit, doing videos and things like this is kind of new to me, and, you know, the social media age. But yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. And it's like breaking new barriers.
Nice. Yeah. Reaching different people probably than you've ever reached before too, right?
With, yes. Yeah.
Your community.
Yeah, because we're just been a straight referral practice, and you help people feel better, and they tell other people, and they tell other people. And so that's one thing I love about NUCCA is that you really do help people, and they feel that difference, and they want to tell others.
Yeah. And I know, I think one of the things that we've worked with you on is just building systems, right? And helping the practice to have more, you know, consistent systems that as you said, it can be both any of the doctors could take care of people in a similar way, and you can have a similar experience, that type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. But I mean, and it's good. I see us actually functioning better business-wise, and so paying attention to some more things that I just kind of let slide for a little while and had gotten in kind of my groove. And so breaking out of that, but yeah, it's been really good for us and I see things expanding. So we're going to have a fantastic month this month.
Nice.
So excited. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And
Yes.
Dr. Cashman's practice has been growing within your practice, right? He's seeing more and more people and helping more people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He is. He's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's, I mean, that's the key, right? I mean, it's if we want to help more people, if we want more people to get access to upper cervical care, we got to have more doctors that are thriving, right?
Yes,
that's the key.
Exactly. Yeah. And really it's, when taking an associate, you want them to prosper.
Yeah.
You want them to be successful and happy. And so, I mean, if he was my kid, I'd want the same thing for him, that, be in a good place and have a fantastic living and have a great life and have fun at doing what we do. We're always Poor Tony, he probably thinks we are the craziest people in all of our sessions, and like, oh, okay. We have fun with what we do.
That's great. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it should be fun, right? I mean, you're helping people that most of the time no one else can help, right? And I mean, that if you can't be excited about that, you're not paying attention, right?
Exactly. Something's wrong. Got to figure that one out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So 32 years into practice, and don't seem like you're slowing down, right? I mean, you want to keep going and keep growing and helping people in your community.
Yeah, maybe when I'm 70, I'll slow down a little bit. Maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So
I don't think there's a lot of medical professions that help people, but I don't think there's really any better feeling than being able to help somebody get out of pain and change their life where they can function better and make better decisions. One thing I always said is, if you don't feel good, you don't make good decisions in your life. So really, when you're helping somebody feel better, you're changing their life. So it's a really good work.
Absolutely. So, what's some of the ways that you found that are most effective to communicate with patients over the years? I mean, obviously, when you bring somebody into the practice, they're not familiar with upper cervical, and what's some of the key things that you found has been key in communicating upper cervical, or the approach you're going to take with them, and the things that they need to understand about what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I think, at first, really listening to your patient and what they're telling you, that first initial phase where you're talking with somebody, to really sit and listen to them. That one, they need to be heard. Somebody who knows, okay, this person heard me, and let's see what they have to say. And then you go through your exam and the posture. And really, it's the posture analysis. I have an anatometer that I use, and so setting people up on that, and then having them come back and look at their posture and go, oh, wow, well, that's really crooked. And I was like, yes. And I said, and that's all because your atlas is misaligned. Once we can get that atlas back under your head and your head back on straight on your neck, everything else, falls in pretty much underneath. And so that's kind of the basics of where they know they have a problem. They come to see you because they know they have something going on, but then to show them, well, this is off, and this is, is what's causing your problem. So fix that, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
So
that's that show. That show and tell is so important, right? Being able to show them and tell them, and show them the connection between their posture and their problems with their health.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that, and then just talking to them, this is, we're going to take 3 x-rays, and this kind of gives us a 3D picture of what's misaligned with your spine, and then we'll address it from there. So, that's pretty much the basics in a nutshell there on, educating them at first. you understand why they're doing that, and then showing them the x-rays. People always, there's like, wow, I never would have realized that until I saw it on film. And so then they see how much they're, truly misaligned, and then the pre's and post. But, it's just the adjustment and then seeing their posture shift. I mean, that's eye-opening.
Right. That the post check on the anatometer, right, and being able to show them how things have changed with their posture is key to really helping them to see what's happening.
Yeah, and then go back to that post X-ray and say, okay, this is where you were, this is where you are now, this is what we're going to continue to work on and get you stable. And then, I think telling people that, we're going to get you stable is a big thing, because, they think, well, I'm going to have to come forever. The thing about it is once they get stable, they don't ever want to be unstable again. So,
right.
The little falls and bumps and car door hits and different things that way that they need to come back and get followed up on, but they know that they're going to be able to maintain an adjustment and feel better.
Yeah, and that's the key too. Right? When you can help them to see that it's not about being adjusted, it's about being in alignment, right? It's holding is healing, and you can get them to really understand that and understand that, hey, we're going to get you back into this stable position, and so your body can be as healthy as possible. And once they get in that position, then it's like you said, they don't ever want to go back to when they were unstable, when they were misaligned, when they were all twisted up and feeling terrible.
That's right. That is right. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, so that's the key, though. You got to get them to get that big idea, and then they can it goes from there, right? And so, and how about, you said you obviously generated a lot of referrals over the years. Was that was there do you have anything that you specifically do you talk to patients about referrals? Do they just refer people to you, or how does that work within your practice?
I think it's I think once people become aware of their own posture, then they kind of start looking at other people. It's like, oh, okay, and then just, general things that we talk about while they're in for care. I think developing that relationship with a patient that, they're going to talk to you about other people, like, oh, well, I have a sister who has this, or my husband, has this. And then you just talk to them about, well, let's get them in here and let's get them checked and see, if there's anything we can do to help them. So it's mainly just having a conversation a little bit while you're adjusting and while you're working on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of been the biggest thing. And then we have we have a TV in our office that one of our staff members, we get together and we do up all these slides and stuff, just kind of informative about things we do treat. And so people will see that in office. And so that's going on the screen, and different things we have going on at the office. So that's always kind of playing and educating patients while they're waiting to get adjusted.
Helps to simulate some conversations and helps them to think about people and think about maybe, because a lot of times patients can get kind of focused in on, like, if I came there for migraines, they help people for migraines, but if they, if there's so many other things that can help. That upper cervical can help. And so sometimes patients they got to see other type of, information about other conditions and other people that you've helped that can help with that, huh?
Yes. Yeah. I'm just having the pamphlets out in the waiting room that go over different topics. People pick those up and take those to people. So
absolutely.
It's been a good referral source. Just education.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is, before we wrap up for today, Doc, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about anything related to upper cervical or helping people in the community?
you know, I'm just trying to think if I don't know if I have any words of wisdom. I've been doing this a little while, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, upper cervical is the greatest. It really is. And, you know, I think if we can look at some of our predecessors and some of their dreams of having more and more upper cervical doctors in our cities, and to grow with that, I think it's definitely needed. There's going to be more and more of us needed. And so we need to have more doctors. So I think getting into the colleges, and if you really explain to the student the benefit of why are these subluxations continually occurring, if you can go to the source and keep them from reoccurring, then you've just done a masterful work right there. So I think if we can get that across to some of the new chiropractic students that are coming out, that and getting those kids adjusted. I see some kids from Parker and some from Cleveland that come down and get adjusted, and it's, you know, they tell the difference. Like, oh, so this is what all this is about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Keep getting the word.
Got to get them to experience it if you can, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And you know, and lastly, just, you've been working with us now for a few years, I believe, as a client. You know, if there's anybody out there that is thinking about using UCM practice growth systems to help them grow their practice, what would you say about that?
Do it. Just do it. Yes. And just, you know, getting the systems in place, and, you know, even if you've been practicing a long time, there's always room for improvement, and that's definitely really helped. And awesome. It's like, you know, it's a little bit of a new world out there with social media and post-COVID and different types of people. It's good to have that. Very good to have it.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Yep. And, you know, we're here to help you. We love helping upper cervical doctors grow their practices, help more people in their communities. And so, as I thank you so much, Doc, for being with us today, being on the podcast. And as we always say around here, go team upper cervical.
That's right.